the entire Constitution should be used, not just the ones that people like. And the entire Constitution is Article 5. And Article 5 was put in there for such a time as this, when the country was off the rails. And the country is off the rails. The country is divided. You have just today an immigration bill that was mentioned before that you'd think, given the crisis at the border, you'd be able to come together and find some solution, but they can't. They're incapable of doing it. Washington is completely broken, and it's going to get worse. And here's why I believe it's going to get worse. I was a United States Senator for 12 years. And the United States Senate has always been the place that stopped the federal government from going off the rails. For the first 140 years of the Republic, up until the 17th Amendment, in order to pass a bill in the United States Senate, you had to have unanimous consent to vote. That means every senator had to agree to vote, or there was no vote. And as a result, guess what? Very little passed. Why was that the case? Because the state legislatures were given the power to appoint senators. And guess what the state legislatures told their senators? Don't let the federal government take power from us. And for 140 years, the federal government didn't take power from Washington, from the state of Iowa or any other state. But that changed with the popular election of senators, and the federal government has exploded. People say, oh, the Constitution, don't touch it. It's been touched. It was ripped out. The provision that provided for federalism, that allowed the states to keep their authority, was ripped out of the Constitution with the passage of the 17th Amendment. Luckily, the founders put a second provision in to allow the states to reassert themselves as at the top of the food chain. Remember, every person at the Constitutional Convention in 1787 had one thing in common. They were all state legislators. They were not federal people. They were state folks. And they wanted the states to be in charge of domestic policy in this country, not the federal government. Why? Because they realized, even when there were 13 colonies, that New Hampshire was different than Georgia, that the border states, the frontier states, were different than the coastal states. The big states were different than the small states. They believed in federalism. The only way you maintain federalism is you keep power out of Washington. Would you really mind in Iowa if California wanted to pass a bunch of woke things to put in their education department, as long as it didn't affect you? No, you wouldn't. But that's not what happens. What happens is, whatever happens in California through the federal government gets imposed on you. The country is fracturing because Washington is doing everything and imposing everything, and it's dividing the country because Iowa is not California. And you can say, well, we'll elect better people. How's that been going? How's it going? What solution did you hear today from those who oppose this? What solution is going to fix this problem of rampant spending, federal tyranny, where a president get up and just eliminate programs, forgive loans, change the policy, and not enforce the law? And you can say, well, the courts will check it. The courts aren't checking it. Yes, I did say we should have a convention of states more regularly. Why? Because you need to assert your authority that you're in charge of Washington, not the other way around. That's the way the Constitution was structured. And you have given it away.